Okay, Travis Wayne Goodsell, and in case this is your first video of mine that you're coming to, I'm an LDS critic, but I was born and raised Mormon, going on 50 years, and so I know everything about the Mormon Church and Mormonism, and if you don't think I am, go ahead, make my day. Get the right movie slogan in there, because Terminator is no longer saying I'll be back. I won't be back. And so I filed a lawsuit because of the crimes committed against me by the LDS Church. It's case file 219 CV 00711. It's a legitimate case file in the federal court system. And as of midnight, the 1st of February 2020, the church is what's called being in default because of the controversy in the case, as the judges were protecting and defending the church, and information were leaked to help inform the church that they are guilty of criminal activity, and so the church tried to cover up that criminal activity and got caught covering up that criminal activity, and so on and so forth. This is the case that you haven't heard about that has been going on right in your midst, and it's over now because of the failure to respond being in default, and it means the church cannot appeal. There's nothing they can do about it. It's over, it's done, and they cannot appeal the decision. And so I have my one of two viewers who commented saying, Travis, how do you know if the church will hand over the keys to you or pay you a check? They're just going to ignore me, don't you think? And also, if you do get to be the head of the church of the church, are you going to pay our tithing back? Yeah, and then she's asking, did the church take our church records and trade them on the stock market to make money off of us? Partly. If you're unfamiliar with what's going on with Cambridge Analytica selling our data to Russia, and then Russia rigging the 2016 election based upon the data they obtained through Facebook, and none of these American companies are getting busted by the American government. But that's Trump for you. So let's start from the beginning to answer your questions. I'm pretty sure they aren't going to want to hand over the keys or a check. That's why I'm doing a switch on my YouTube videos now. It's now all about talking about how the church is over. It's ended. They have to close their doors. And so I had the list of notes for future videos, and was busting up laughing over the 30 pieces of silver title. And so yeah, this is a new change in the focus of my videos now. It's now not a matter of exposing the crimes against me and the crimes that the church has committed, because it's over. The church is done. It's history. And so now it's a matter of church needs to quit. They need to stop. They need to follow the law. Article of Faith number 12, Mormons. If you believe in being subject to the Constitution and the federal law, they have to hand over the church or a paycheck or a check, because that's what they claim they do, so that's what they must do. It's that simple. But yes, there will be resistance, there will be refusals, there will be ignoring, but it's official. It's on the docket, in the public domain. I won. And so, yeah, now it's just a matter of getting people to do the right thing, and the legal thing, and make this officially over with. And so, yeah, I expect them to ignore me, but that's where the public comes in. The more people that know about this, the more pressure that is put on the church. Say, hey, this case says you lost. The church is no longer in operation. What's going on? Oh, fake news. No, this is a federal case, 219 CV 00711. We didn't hear about it. Well, yeah, but you lost. You can't appeal. So, yeah, the church caves when enough pressure is placed on them. Just look at the history where the federal government came in and said no more polygamy, and they had to come in again, no more polygamy, guys. And they had to come in again, no more polygamy. yeah, whatever. We have the official declaration, but we're not taking out Section 132. See, they have a history of rebellion against the United States. And Article of Faith number 12. But then they lifted the racist ban on blacks holding the priesthood in 78. And so they caved to the pressure of that. And they claimed that it was revelation, and it was time, and blah, blah, blah. No, it was pressure from society that forced them to do it. And so then the church, of course, being a criminal organization, said, fine, we'll steal money from blacks if they're no longer allowed to be slaves. And so then we get to the ordained women. They were successful in excommunicating her, the leader of the ordained women, but they caved in regards to allowing women to have a more prominent role in the church. Women can now wear slacks, for example. So much for easy access. But yeah, Utah is big on rape. Thousands upon thousands of backlogged rape kits that they just can't keep up with, because the abstinence teaching of sex ed here in Utah is driving men to rape. So, and they're protecting those men rather than protecting the women, because those men involve certain prominent people, which is why they're protecting them. And then you have Protect LDS Children, who put the pressure on the church to change the interview process for children with their bishops, and requiring or the option for children to have a parent or an adult in the room as a witness, to make sure that the bishop reads from the script from now on. That they can't ad-lib and start talking to the children about things that the children have never even heard of in their life, such as was my case example. So I was like, I don't know. Okay, well, we'll punish you, but I don't know what it is. I've never heard that word. Yeah, but we're going to punish you. Alright, whatever. Screw you. So the church caves to pressure. With the pressure of the marijuana vote in the midterms. The church said, no, we're not having marijuana in Utah because we did our own studies paying people to report that marijuana is bad. And so people in Utah who have been victims of the pollution and have seizures as a result, who need medical marijuana to slow down the brain so that their seizures are lessened or are prevented from occurring. And the church said, no, screw the sick and afflicted. But Utah gave the church the middle finger and voted for medical marijuana. But then the church then ordered the Utah legislature to modify the law. And so there was big lawsuits and debate over that, delaying the release of it, and now they've modified it because the church caved to say, okay, well, fine, if we're not going to ban it, at least modify it. And they did the same thing with the most recent thing that was overturned. Trying to think of what it was now. But that's the pattern, is that the church says no to something, the Mormons in Utah say hell no, and then the church orders the legislature to modify it. So the people do have the power to overturn the church, and that can be done here with this lawsuit. When enough pressure is put on the church to say, hey, you guys are criminal, you guys aren't even supposed to be in operation anymore, you need to quit, you need to hand it over. Because this is a civil case, they don't get punished for prison time. That's only for criminal cases. What's supposed to happen now is that because I won in a civil case, the Utah federal Attorney General, U.S. Attorney General, is supposed to now file charges for the crimes that have been conceded to in my case. And we're talking treason, war crimes, RICO, bigamy, hate crimes. Hate crimes is among the least of them. And so we're talking severe criminal action here if the Mormon who's in charge of the U.S. Attorney General's office for the state of Utah does his job. And so if he's Mormon, I'm assuming he's Mormon because everybody seems to be Mormon. Everybody's compromised by the Mormon church, which is why I filed my case under RICO. That's for criminal organizations. So when a member does something wrong, the church goes down for it. That's how RICO works. So to answer the question, am I going to pay tithing back? I did specify that the church's obligations already need to be taken care of before I'm given a check or I'm handed the keys. So any lawsuits against the church need to be resolved immediately before handing it over to me, because I'm a new organization. The old church is the old church. All lawsuits are against the old church. They're not against the new church. I just got started. Give me time before you start filing lawsuits against me. But I clearly indicated I'm turning the organization into a charity. Either way, whichever I get the keys or I get the check, I'm creating a charity, an actual charity. And with multi-billions, we're fixing the world's poverty. We're doing a complete reversal here. I've already got the business model designed, and so it's just a matter of finding the right people who know the right skills to implement it, and go through some company like LegalZoom for all of the legal paperwork. And so That's the plan. So in regards to tithing, again, that's the old church, but if you, who I'm commenting to, or other Mormons are suffering financially because of the church's requirement to pay tithing, my charitable organization will compensate you because you're in need of a charity, and thus I will give charity. The whole system is set up to elevate the poor rather than giving fish all the time. If you've heard that analogy, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. No, there's error in that philosophy, and the philosophy is that you have to also provide a body of water with enough healthy fish to supply the person for a lifetime, and then you have to give them the equipment to do the fishing, and the equipment to turn the fish into edible food, if we're going to use that analogy. And so, like I said, the poor aren't capable of saving, and because they can't save, they need every single bit of money to survive, and that's where the fish thing goes wrong. Is people think, well, you're educated, you got a high school degree, go get a job, do it yourself, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, feed yourself. And people don't get it because the body of water, metaphorically speaking, is polluted with sick and ill fish, as getting a regular fast food job doesn't pay you enough to take care of yourself, let alone a whole family with as many kids as you and your wife want, you and your spouse want, if I'm talking to women. And so my charity is not just a charity like the Utah Food Bank, where they rely on donations and then give a fish a day to those who are in need. My charity is designed to pull people out of poverty, so that they will no longer have need, they will no longer have want. They will get everything they need, even to form their own business. But my charity is such that for example, as the other video I did on this, if you want to sew clothes, you like sewing clothes, but you've never had the money to buy your own sewing machine, let alone the material to make clothes, my charity will ask you, okay, what is it you want to do, like to do, that you're not able to do? And you'll say, I want to sew clothes. Great. Here's a sewing machine. Here's the material. And then you make the clothes. So how do you then distribute them? We don't want to use the current economy because it's corrupt. It's causing poverty. And so by being a part of my charity, you would give what you make to the charity. You get to have what you make if you want to wear the clothes that you make, but everything else that you make, you give to the charity. And that's how you donate. And by donating, you get everything you need and want. So if you need food, you get food. You need clothing, well, you already made your clothes, so you got the sewing machine and the material to make your clothes. You need shelter, you need communication, You need transportation. All of it's provided, all because you gave from the investment we put into you. That's it. There's no quotas. You don't have to make a certain amount. You just have to give. What you're capable of doing, what you're capable of performing, is enough. And that's how it works. And so, no, I won't be giving out money. The economy of the world will collapse with this new charity as a retaliation to say, okay, fine, you think you're going to handle everything? Then you do it. We're going to force you to give away everything in your charity. Okay. But that's how it works, is you invest in people like the original savings and loan used to be before the big bad bankers took them out of business. Just like, what was that? It's a Wonderful Life? But that's my new economic system for the charity. And if people want to work in the world still, fine. If you need assistance to supplement, we make arrangements. We'd have to have a financial planner discuss with you how much you're making and what you are short. Thus, like, for example, you can't get enough to buy a sewing machine to make clothes. And so you have bills that you have to pay, and so the money that you make would go towards your own bills, but then everything extra would then be given as donation to the charity, and then we would then supplement to make sure that you don't go hungry. You have clothes, unless that's the side investment that you do along with the regular job. So if you like flipping burgers for a living, that's something you enjoy, but obviously it doesn't pay you enough to live, we can help you with that goal. And until the economy collapses, then we can provide you with a job where you're flipping burgers for the rest of your life, if that's what you want to do. And then you get everything you need and want to survive and live. It's a simple system based on the storehouse principle in the Bible, Malachi. Bring all your tithes into the storehouse. But instead of tithes, it's well, yeah, that's what it was back then. It wasn't money necessarily. It was the firstlings of your flock and the first fruits of the field that people would give. And so this is a little bit different, where instead of a tithe, it's the excess you produce. If you're familiar with tithing, it was supposed to be 10% of your interest annually. And the church has completely failed to follow tithing on all scales. And so, yeah, Mormons are clueless as to what tithing was supposed to be. But that's, you can call it the law of consecration if you want. I'm just calling it a charity. We're actually going to elevate the poor out of poverty. And because it's a charity, I can run it and not have to worry about the rest of the economy, which will collapse. But so yeah, that's how you'll be paid back. Mormons and ex-Mormons and inactive or less active Mormons. That's how you will get paid back. And as you can see, if you've put in maybe $10,000 in your whole lifetime in tithing to the church, you can see from my charitable organization, you'll be getting far more than just $10,000 worth back. It's grocery shopping alone can be upwards of $300 per person in Utah, and so don't let me forget, you also get covered for all your health needs. This literally is the ideal health plan. So you have to be a full participant of the charity in order to do that. You can't be in both worlds to get the free health care. Because the way the government runs this thing, you can't be in both places. So you'd have to be a full participant in the charity. So that's the plan. Like I said, on the 14th and 15th of March, assuming they do comply with the laws of the land like they're supposed to, according to Article of Faith number 12, those would be the conference weekend where I go over it. 14th would be for the business, and thus for the charity organization, explaining it in greater detail and showing how it'll work and getting people to start in that program. And then Sunday would be for the new religion, but you weren't too concerned about the religion. And I don't know if Mormons would either, because there were a number of thumbs down talking about the new religion. And so, like I said, Mormons are going to be pissed. So, look forward to that. If you notice, I'm wearing my sign of the collapse of the church t-shirt. I warned the 70, and they changed Wikipedia, and they fell right into my legal trap. That's what the Bible signs meant, guys. They weren't just signs for the sake of signs. They had signs for a symbolic meaning. So the sun darkening, collapse of the government. Moon turning to blood, collapse of the religion. And you have to decide, where is this going to take place? Well, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, said it happened on Samoa, and he saved the world already from the chemical explosion. So, unfortunately, the signs did not occur over the island of Samoa. They occurred over the United States of America. So the government you're looking for is the United States government to collapse. That's what we've got right now. On Wednesday, America will no longer be a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy either. Don't say democracy. We're not a democracy. Democracy's not dead. It's been dead. It should be dead. We shouldn't resurrect democracy. It's a failed government. We are a constitutional republic. And on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Utah time, it will collapse as we transfer into a full-blown monarchy. Return to the monarchy that started this nation and the 13 colonies. That was the whole plot from the beginning. When our founding fathers declared independence, the plan was set in motion to destroy the new government of America and reestablish a monarchy. And this Wednesday, it will succeed. Joseph Smith prophesied of it. Constitutional hang by a thread. Book of Mormon symbolically warned of it. I call it encoded warning. Mormons failed. And like I commented to the person I'm talking to specifically, watch for Mitt Romney's and Mike Lee's votes on Wednesday. They're Mormon boys. They know all about the prophecy. They know the Book of Mormon. They know what's at stake. Watch their vote. Because we already have Mike Lee, who refused to hear any witnesses, have any extra documents that have come forward. He refused. Mitt Romney said yes. Interesting. But pay attention to the key, crucial vote that will change America for the rest of eternity. Wednesday, 2 o'clock. History is in the making. And the church has been destroyed now, according to the prophecy, and so is America, according to the prophecy. It's the latter days, guys. It's here. It's now. The signs have all occurred, and now it's fulfillment time. And I've been warning you this whole several years, 4 years now, and I only have 2 viewers. Oops. Despite the length of the the video I just did, I need to add an extra answer to the question that the person is asking in regards to, did the church take our membership records and trade them on the stock market to make money off of us? Yeah, but not in that way. It's called insurance fraud. What the church does is they consider us as members, when we get baptized, as commodities rather than on the board of members. Different business definitions for membership. And so as Mormons, we don't get a say in the church. We have to subject ourselves to whatever the board members, which are the full 15 prophets, tell us to do. And so as commodities, we have to pay membership fees, which is protection money, and as tithing. And then we have to pay the pyramid scheme kits to recruit other Mormons to join and pay the protection money and go on missions to recruit that pyramid process. And so when the church increases their membership numbers, they're then able to go around the world and say, hey, our membership is 16 million now. We want to build some churches in these locations. We want to build a temple. And that membership numbers are used to justify the financial investment in that country or in that city in America where the church wants to build real estate. And so what the church is doing is committing insurance fraud. If you're not familiar, that Trump had to release, Trump's taxes from 85 to 95, somewhere in that period, showed that Trump himself was guilty of financial insurance fraud, as well as tax fraud. And so the church would then be guilty of tax fraud because of the insurance fraud. And so they don't necessarily make money by trading our records on the stock market. It doesn't work that way. It's by claiming a membership to justify the purchase of property. and then the money that they make through that process then would be put on the stock market, invested to make multi-billions, like they did with the 32 billion transferred from Russia into the LLC companies that they organized after Orrin Hatch got the tax bill passed. And so that money was all funneled right into the stock market to invest. That was 32 billion invested in the stock market. So that's well over $100,000 now. So like I was saying, just the 100 billion in tithing tax scheme, that's just the one thing that the church has been doing. They do it with all their organizations, taking a portion out to invest. And the 32 billion was a straight investment, all of it funneled right into the stock market. And so that's why the stock market's so high. That's why the poor are suffering, is because the multi-rich are legally allowed to invest in themselves, and they make interest regularly. And so the church no longer needs members anymore. But they still do, as they go around announcing temples, announcing new buildings for churches and such, because it all generates money by ownership of land. And it's all an insurance scam that the church is doing, and a tax scam as well. So I hope that answered your question. Our membership records are not directly being sold like the cookie datas from all the websites sold to Russia to steal our identity and ruin our credit rating. Equifax still hasn't paid me my $2. They were supposed to deliver it on the 24th of January, and we're now into February. I've gotten no check. Those bastards.